Welcome, Facebook listeners, Vnetwork Radio listeners, and viewers. Thank you for tuning in to the Vnetwork Radio Entertainment Industry Talk. We're here live, and our special guest is in the studio on today, and we asking everyone to tune in. Make sure you share this broadcast. Make sure you share this broadcast. Going live. Once again, thank you for tuning in to the V Network Radio. We're here live with our special guest, and tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a relative that we're on. All right. All right. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Julien Guiteau, a content creator, producer, and presenter. And make sure you join in the live stream right here on V Network Radio. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor that we're on. We want to welcome him to the V Network Radio. Welcome, Julian.
Thank you so much, Donald. I appreciate this opportunity to be on this show. I'm thankful.
All right. Can't forget our host, Lakia.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our show.
All right. All right, let's get started. Our special guest on today's Julien Guiteau. He's a now he is the owner and operator of JFM Productions, where his mission is to produce positive and inspirational content. Julien creates content that tells stories, that entertains, that enlightens, and inspires. Julien aims not only but he for himself, but for his company and for others. All right. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started.
First off, thank you to Lakia and thank you to Donald for having me on the show. Second off, how I got started, I always had a passion for the arts as a young kid. Around 7, 8, my parents played music in the house. They had on movies, they had on concerts, and just a love for media, a love for the arts has just been woven into me as a young kid. My dad would film little short films in our household with me and my brother. And it seemed like I gravitated towards it most. And I joined a dance team in the middle school around here in Pennsylvania. And before going to Pennsylvania, I was actually born and raised in Queens, New York, lived there for 10 years. Family got bigger. I'm the oldest of 4 siblings, and we moved to Pennsylvania. And I think that gave me a chance to have opportunity to take my time with, growing up and learning, what I'm actually interested in. And it wasn't until middle school where I found, the dance team and performing on stages, going to competitions. The young 7th grader, shy kid was no longer shy anymore. And fast forward to, high school and college, just continuing to, perform and continuing to share my, my art, my passion for what I love to do, which is, just create. And that led me to, creating JFG Media Productions, where I create short films with the goal to inspire people, because we all need that inspiration.
Right. And so what makes good content?
Definitely good content comes from something that's providing your viewers with value. When you're watching a video and you're saying, what can I get out of this? Whether it makes you laugh, whether it makes you emotional, whether it makes you learn something new, like a cooking video. I think the biggest goal with anyone who wants to create content is, what's the value in the viewer watching your content? And for me, it was inspiration, and how could we tell a story, but also inspire somebody to, make a difference in their communities.
Yeah. How do you know if a piece of content is doing well?
For me, I try to really let the people speak, let my friends, give me feedback, have my parents and siblings give me feedback. I never really am too fixated on views per se, primarily because I don't want that to stop or stunt my creativity in the sense of, oh, wait, if this video didn't do so well, then I stop. Like, no, I want to keep putting things out that really speak to me and has a potential to speak to others. So the way I measure it is just the feedback from, the people, my friends, my family, people that I've never met before, saying like, hey, like this video really spoke to me. I get messages here and there, and that's like the ultimate goal.
Okay. And what do you need to know about the project before you start writing? Do you need to know about the project before you start writing the project? Or because we have a lot of viewers that are new to writing or either producing music or in the entertainment industry.
Mhm.
What should they do before presenting their content and creating their content?
So definitely for me, it's different within the three pillars of work that I do. So my first project was Adventures with Julian, and that's a social media series on YouTube. And the whole goal is, um, bringing communities together through positivity. So we go to a local company, we highlight what great things they're doing in their community, and my videographer friend films it, and I interview like the CEO, and we put it out on social media. So with the preparation for those episodes, it's me
Hmm.
reaching out to a company where like I find that viewers can actually have an opportunity to, check it out or, see what great things are happening locally. And my second pillar of work is my podcast, Chilling with Julian. And the goal is interviewing, inspiring individuals to inspire others. And
Hmm.
the way I find my guests for those guests for the show is, really looking at a person's um, mannerisms, the way they, go about their daily lives. When
Hmm.
it comes to a post, like
Yeah, that makes a
they're
difference for
specifically
sure.
trying it through music, through their books, like that as well. And then my
Mhm.
last pillar, my uh, short films in JFG Media Productions, the way I start with that, it really stems from um, a story that something that happened to me. We just dropped a short film, Breakthrough, and it's a situation where you have unexpected cancellations and things you were looking forward to, and how does one really fight and break through that.
Mhm.
So those are the three pillars and how I come up with content for each.
Mhm. And let's talk about that project that you worked on and dealing with a situation like that. Tell us a little bit. Can you give us tips on that? How to, deal with a situation like that? Can you
Yeah,
give
so
us a
the overarching message of the short film was, the first scene is, I'm on my phone, I'm speaking to somebody and trying to give them inspiration, like, hey, I know, things are kind of negative in this time, but you got to keep pushing, keep putting your art out there. She was an artist, the person I was speaking to on the phone.
Mhm.
And, as soon as we hopped off the phone of me giving this person inspirational tips, I get about five emails saying, interview canceled, up and coming show canceled, 2020 canceled, and it puts you in a real life perspective of what we're going through now. And the
Right.
way my character deals with it in the short film is, he uses dance to really fight and break through each month. Even though these things are happening to him, he's going to his main love and passion for what he does. And at the end of the short film, it says 2020 isn't canceled. It's the most important year of them all. So what the overall arching message was. Stick to what you love, no matter what's going on around you, and you can necessarily like be giving yourself that self healing. If you love to sing, sing about the times, sing about something that's giving you therapeutical, help, and you may be helping so many people out there in the world too.
And tell me something. How do you deal with the tone to use in a particular piece of writing for film? How do you deal with the tone? Because you don't want to come across too strong or too soft. Yep.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
definitely want the tone of each of my short films to be as realistic as possible when it comes to the tone. I never want anything to be too gimmicky, where like, we're getting a message across, but it's in a way that, people can't believe. And I never want it for it to be like too heavy where like we're over dramatic. I wanted to make it as realistic as possible. And in one of the scenes when I'm talking to, one of my friends, um, I want it to be like I'm talking to them, on the phone, like normally we talk, and just keep everything as, you know, um, realistic as possible. I remember watching an interview where Jamie Foxx was getting, advice from his mentor saying, tone it down a little bit, talk like this, this is how we actually
Mhm.
talk. This is how, we got to do it for this film. So the tone all comes from how do we make this as realistic as possible so the viewer can, really get seep into, the short film.
Right. Tell us how has the internet helped you during this time? Because a lot of times a lot of people are timid into going on social media and presenting their work on social media, and now everybody's doing it right now. So how has the internet helped you, or has it hurt you?
Yeah, I definitely was one of those individuals where I was, timid to put my work out there because I understand how much people is going to see it. I understand that everybody has opinions, and there was just one point in time where I was like, everybody's going to have an opinion regardless, whether you put something out there that you know people dislike or people do like, but be authentic and be yourself no matter what. And it wasn't until I dropped my first, video, Adventures with Julian, episode 1, where it was legit. A tour of Times Square, and I was just being myself. There was thoughts in my head like, what if this personality is not accepted? All of these things. And when I dropped it, the love was just amazing on Facebook. That was the first place I dropped it, and I realized like your friends and family always are gonna know who you are. So, and you are always gonna know who you are. So, what's the point of not putting your stuff out there if you're timid to share yourself? So after that, the ball just kept snowball. It just kept snowballing into more and more content pushing out, and the people that really love the content, that's who I make it for, and you gotta keep going.
All right. Once again, we have our special guest, Julien Guiteau, and he's a presenter, producer, creator right here on the Vnetwork Radio. Hey, if you would like to give a shout out to him, and that's his picture right there, his famous picture right there on the screen. And yes, it's a great picture
Thank you.
of you. Yeah, if you have a question, we're going to open up the phone lines now, and you can call in to ask your question. And that telephone number is 860-461 7577, 860-461-7577. And we are here live. If you have a question, or if you are a writer, content writer or producer, and you would like to have a question, we got comments coming into the chat room now, and the people, um, yeah, are we got Joanne Wesley. She says, "Great advice. Be authentic and be yourself." Salute.
Hey,
Right.
Joan.
Yeah. And Jonas, she is an aspired writer, and she's in a writing business, and she's been following the P Network Radio, And can you give her some tips in writing, for either, poetry or film? Can you give some tips on that?
Yeah, most definitely. You're always going to have writer's block. You're going to come to a point where you have a super great idea. You know how the story is already in your head from start to finish. But breaking it down and really, you know, getting to the nuances of what each and every part of your short film or poem will be is probably one of the toughest parts. You may have to walk away and then come back to it, but I think the biggest tip is to, really focus on each and every scene and give it its attended attention. For example, um, one of my short films, the opening scene is going to be in Central Park. We're thinking about shooting this maybe uh, next month or after that. And I'm having dialogue with my, co-star, and, you know, how is a normal conversation going to take place? Would it sound natural? I think there's this scene where we're playing Uno. Like, if I'm asking her to draw a four and she puts out and draw a two, is can that really happen in the game of Uno? So I'm like, wait, let me look at the rules of Uno. So like all these little small nuances with the writing, with poetry, just make sure it's as realistic as possible, and think about the details. Oh, is this person smelling the roses in this scene? Like, what's the environment
Mhm.
like? And I think that really helps you when you break it down. And yeah, that's my tips right there.
All right. And yes, if you all have a question, we're monitoring the chat line. Just make sure you type in your question that you may have. All the viewers out there and listeners, type in your questions in the chat. We'll be sure to bring them over to Julian as he can bring his experience right here. And we have callers calling into the studio now. And yes, and so we, yeah, phones are ringing off the hook.
Vnetwork Radio, how can we help you?
Hi,
All
this is
right.
Joan Wesley. I'm tuned in, and I wanted to ask Julian a question.
Okay. All right. All right. Lakia, she can bring the question over to me.
Okay, what's your question?
My question is, when writing, should I, can I make an actual place in which, like town and state, in where the event is happening? It's a mystery story, and I was thinking maybe I shouldn't use an actual state that exists, city that exists. Maybe I should say something else that's fictional. So I'm in the contrast of, do I use real city and state, or should I make one up? Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it makes sense. I'm going to direct your question to Julian. One moment, okay?
Very cool.
All right, Julian. Did you hear that, Julian?
A little bit,
The
but
question?
if you could repeat it,
Okay,
that'd be great.
Lakia, you got to bring the
Okay,
phone
I
to
can
me.
actually tell you. She's in the process of writing something, and she wants to know if she should use the state or use something else. What's your advice to her?
I
Can you
definitely
bring the
feel
phone to me?
if this is a fictional or a non-fictional, that will definitely make a big purpose in what you want to write for. If you want to use the state, that's also good too, because um, then with a nonfiction, it's like super realistic, and someone who reads it or watches it can really relate to. Okay, I know that state too, and it could be even be indirect, where like you're describing the place or you're visually showing the place. I remember doing a short film in Central Park, and immediately individuals who are from New York knew exactly where that was, but some people asked like, hey, where is that? So maybe there's an instance where if you want to really make it um, known for your viewers or your readers exactly where this is, like it's a super important part of the project, then do so. For me in my short film, it wasn't. It was more so the message. But if your location is a big part of getting the message across, add it in.
All right, Joan, are you still on?
Yes,
Did he answer your question? And now you're saying that you're writing fiction.
yes, I do.
Okay. Do you have anything else that you would like to present or question?
No, I believe that's it. I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. If you think of any questions, you could just type it in the chat. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, we have so many inspired writers and entertainers out there, and so yeah, yes, good information that you're presenting. Now, what projects are you currently working on at this time?
So currently, I just completed a script for a short film called Leap of Faith, and
Hmm.
a lot of my short films are stem from experiences that I've encountered,
Hmm.
and Leap of Faith is all about this young dreamer who wants to take his career to the West Coast, and there's internal um, boundaries, there's limitations mentally, and people around him, you're getting mixed messages from friends and family, but he really knows what his capability is in this new state. He's been there a couple of times, and he sees himself thriving. And in the scene, he's having a conversation with a friend, and they're really just inspiring each other to really understand, like, that window is small. So when that fire is lit up inside of you, really go after it, and use that chance to make it flames. And it's all about making sure you jump on opportunities. And that's
Hmm.
a short film that I'm looking right now for videographers in New York who could film it. I already have an actress who I feel could really bring this to life. But I'm hopefully looking to shoot that next month or sometime this year. Um, that's one project. And my other project is next week. I actually have a episode where I'm highlighting this organization in Pennsylvania. They're called Extreme Flag Football League, and this
Hmm.
is from ages 11 all the way up to 45, where individuals can participate in a recreational flag football league, and they compete for um, gold medals, and it's a legit sport that's really popular. And I was contacted to highlight them for my series Adventures with Julian, and I accepted. I thought this would be a great way for our viewers to see how they too can get involved and what's the culture like there. And then my last project that I'm looking to push out is the 11th episode of my podcast, Chilling with Julian. And there's this really inspiring individual. She lives in Queens. She's uh, a trumpet player. She's a musician. She just opened up her own company, and she's only 25. And I knew we had to really highlight her and really have an opportunity for our young people and people of color to see, like, you can really do this too. She opened up her own music studio, and this is something that's possible. And I'm in talks with her manager now on how we can set up a date to really have this episode come into fruition. So I'm excited for that too this year.
Yeah, so great, great. When you're creating and you're doing films and you have a timeline, of course, and you're a producer, and then there's so many things that come up. How do you manage your schedule as far as timeline for your production work?
Yeah, so scheduling is super important. For me, I'm very strategic on where and when I want to drop the projects. So planning could be, um, 2 weeks in advance, it could be a month in advance. And I like to keep it around that time, just
Hmm.
so I'm not overwhelming myself. I definitely feel like we have the potential to, ease any, worries we have for up and coming projects.
Hmm.
So it's important that we give ourselves timelines and goals. But the way I manage it is I have a calendar on my phone. It legit says, hey, you have, an interview at this time. You have to reach out to your videographer and, catch up on a call and give updates on the talks you had with, your Chilling with Julian guest manager, and um, following up on, messages where you said, hey, all right, I'll get back to you. Let me wait till, I hear from these individuals. Or it can be
Hmm.
like, hey, let's talk about this episode coming up next weekend. What's your visions for what kind of shots you want to get? Like, a lot of that scheduling is, thrown into my calendar and my phone, and just a lot of self-discipline of like, okay, exactly at 2 p.m., call your videographer. Exactly
Hmm.
at 3 p.m., text
Right.
your editor. And
Yeah.
that really keeps me going.
Okay. And let's talk about design. When you're designing your work, having props and, getting actors to come in and people to come in to, fulfill the film's needs. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, most definitely. One of my close friends, Christian Mendez, he works in Los Angeles downtown, and he
Hmm.
works on, real big production sets, whether it be like America's Got Talent or the Food Network. And he's around, some of the most, well-known, producers and directors, and he gives me a lot of, tips and insight on how you conduct a set. How do you um, actually, what do you need to give your guests on set, like accommodations? They need water, they need, little snacks during sets. And I was in Los Angeles last month on set of Chilling with Julian episode 10
Hmm.
with a dancer who was my guest, and we rented out like a downtown studio loft, and the place was amazing. And I listened to my friend's advice. I brought waters, I brought, you know,
Yeah.
snacks for my videographers, and, really just mapping out how things should look and being prepared because, as a producer, you're going to have multiple hats,
Right.
and taking on that responsibility, I think you really in love with the process and just understand you have responsibility and, you know, put it into fruition because it's your name, your brand, and you really want to make a good impression on your guests and, future guests.
Okay, one of the questions that people raise all the time, they say, I don't think my content is good enough, for TV or radio or internet, and what are your suggestions for individuals starting out and is saying that their content is not good enough? Myself, I'm a perfectionist, and what happened was is that, like, if I create a project, and I'll go back and listen to the project, and I'll hear, like, if I made a mistake, or if this could have been right, or if this, I'm hard on myself when it comes down to the project itself. So I try to not, once the project is done and over with, I try not to go back and listen to it, if I don't have to, because I'm real hard on myself to, critiquing what I could have done better, or, is this good enough for the public, or can you give us a tip on that? I know everybody is different.
Mm. Yeah, I could definitely relate. I'm the same way with, each and every project that I drop. Like, my eyes are on it and I'm reviewing it, you know, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Me and my
Hmm.
editor are going back and forth, and I'm saying, "Hey, did you see this little part right here where
Yeah.
the lighting was off?" And he's
Right.
like, "Oh, I didn't see that. I'll get that for you." And it comes down to a point where yeah, it comes down to a point where there's only so much you can do to it, um, to where it's really time to drop it. And the point you really know is when you've picked out everything you could, and it comes down to a personal thing where like you're you're not wanting to release it because you don't feel, you know, people will accept it yet. And when it comes down
Mm,
to that point and like all the technical stuff are out, you got all the nicks and crannies out, um, you just gotta release. You gotta let it go. You gotta just drop it and see what happens. And that's exactly what happened with, my first ever video. And I was like, okay, this is me. This is my personality. I'm showcasing, who I am. I really can't change that. So, you know, let me put it out and see what happens. And that was one of the best things that ever happened because I got so much love and feedback from, the people that really knew me. And for anybody out there listening, understand that when you're dropping your project, there's individuals who, know and love, just you for you. And no matter what you drop, if you're proud of it and you've put everything you could into it, they're going to appreciate it too. It's your content's not going to be for everybody, and I think that's the number one thing to understand. That's okay, you know. And once you find your niche, you find your community, the people who rock with, your content. Now you're putting that out for them, and it's gonna grow. It's gonna expand because more people are gonna say like, okay, like I see what this person's up to, and I really, am interested in that. Not everybody's a fan of, a certain show on TV. Not everybody's a certain fan of movies. Like there's gonna be a niche though. So let it out because there's always a niche for things you do, and there's gonna be a group out there for your project. So
mm.
just release it.
Yeah, I think, like Michael Jackson, of course, on a lot of his songs, he took hundreds and hundreds of takes, on those songs and to perfect them. But he eventually, was able to drop those songs, and to release those songs. And I'm quite sure he wasn't satisfied with all of his songs that he put out and the content that he put out, but he released them, and it's just a process. Also, you got to keep in mind what kind of budget do you have. If you're releasing a project and you're on a slim budget, to get the best, you're gonna have to pay to get the
Mm,
best, and it costs, as they say, to be the boss. So you
yes.
have to set up a budget, and for anybody that's out there that's working on projects, you can get a project done, economical, but if you want to take it further, to the next level, sometimes it requires a budget, and you have to deal with that. And you don't want to have one project and you not finish it, and for a lifespan. You know, that's working for nothing. Because it's your project gonna last. Or if you're gonna have your son or daughter work on the project for the future if you pass. So you want a project that you're going to release the project, and you want to set deadlines like uh, our guest was saying. You have to set details like Julian was saying, and to make sure that your goals and objectives are met. Mhm. And so in creating your projects, and you deal with so much, as a producer. When you got started, did you have any help from other people? I know you said one friend helped you, but what was the hardest time in your life that you had to deal? What was something that you had to deal with that was difficult?
Yeah, most definitely. I feel there's no way that, these projects could come afloat if it wasn't for you know, my team. At the end of the day, it's not necessarily, a team where individuals are hired. It's more like it's an indirect team. It stems from, my friends. It stems from family. It stems from, you know, um, individuals who, worked with me on a specific project. I learned so much in each videographer, each editor, they work so differently. In the beginning stages, I was just, trying and seeing what sticks and going out and trying something new. And I guess the hardest thing for me was, seeing what I was going to stick to. What exactly is, the mission of, Adventures with Julian? What's the mission of, Chilling with Julian? What is the one thing that we're going to keep consistent in the show? And I think once I really, stopped dwelling on, okay, what's the mission? What's the mission? What's the mission? And just kept going and let the mission come to me. Eventually, when you drop about 4 to 5, maybe 6, 7, 8 episodes, you realize like, okay, these videos here did really well. These videos not so well. Let's look back and see why that was, So definitely my help comes from, my videographers, my editors, my guests. Like I learned so much. Like the goal is, interviewing those guests to, uh, have inspiration for the viewers to see, but I'm sitting right next to them on the couch and I'm getting inspired by just talking to them. So as much as the viewers are, getting inspiration, I am too. And it makes me learn so much for the next episode. And that's my mindset. Like I want the next episode to be better than the next, production quality, sound, just the conversations we're talking about. Let's get more in depth to, a certain topic, let's have this flow better, because presenter is also another thing on my, list of things I want to, be and achieve. So how, as a presenter, are you going to speak with this person and have the viewers, see if they can relate, but also, um, understand the story. As the presenter, that's your job. You think of the Robin Roberts, you think of the Steve Harveys, you think of the Oprahs, how they're able to sit down with a person and learn and pull emotion from them during, some of the toughest times, and for me as a presenter, I think that's the most rewarding thing, when I can, you know, have that emotion abstracted, from that conversation. So toughest thing is figuring out what the overall arching mission and goal is. But when you find it, it's a beautiful thing. And I think that's all with consistency. And my help and assistance come from going along that path. Who am I meeting during this interview? Who am I meeting during this editing? Who am I meeting during this videography? That's how the progression happens. And I'm just thankful.
And Julian, tell me something like the different. Now, do you are you the editor? Like when you editing the films, or will you be the ones to do the editing, or do you have like software that you use to do editing and things like that?
For me, I hire editors who um, I'm really inspired by their work. It stems
Hmm.
from, hiring editors from my school, because when I first started, the series, I was 1 year out of college and I had taken a TV and film basic operations class. So I met all of these awesome videographers and editors, and they were friends of mine and classmates. And,
Hmm.
it started from a short text. Hey, I'm starting
Right.
this brand new project. I know you edit. Would you be interested? And, as a college student, you're eager to want to um, gain experience and gain work and learn, how far you can push yourself. So me starting out, 1 year out of college, and them starting, whether it's their sophomore year or junior year or maybe their seniors, we're both, starting at the same level and both eager to, build up each other. So it was a mutual thing where um, we're helping each other out. And that year out, I had a full-time role, and I'm still in that same full-time role. And financially, I was able to support, up and coming, um, college students with a project, whether it's, okay, this is the cost for editing. And, we're working together hand in hand of, um, in this part right here, would you be able to cut back, 2 seconds because I kind of hear a sound here. And I'm so thankful that I took that, TV film basic operations class, not only because of meeting the people that, are my editors still to this day, but also that I'm very aware of, the lingo and the nuances needed in editing. I know exactly what parts need to be fixed. I have the eye of, finding certain things that some editors may miss, because I had a class teach us these things. So with wearing the producer hat and the presenter hat, the host hat, um, I'm super aware of how editing works and what are some things that need to, help the project. The it could be something as simple as the color of the picture. Can we get it warmer here? Can we decrease the light? It's kind of shining too harshly on this subject. And
Mm,
some of my editors are blown away, like, oh, you know all of this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's because as someone that really wants to put their stuff out there and make it its best quality, um,
right.
just do your research, know the editing. So I personally don't do the editing, but I'm
Yeah.
very heavily involved in the final work.
If someone wanted to reach out to you, and to fund your project or help you with your project, how would they be able to reach you?
Yeah, that would be Julien.Guiteau@gmail.com. It's Julien .Guiteau@gmail.com. We can definitely collaborate if you are an individual with, a super awesome talent or something inspirational that you would like for, my podcast show, Chilling with Julian. If you are a organization or business that is doing really great things for their community, that could be a great episode for Adventures with Julian. And if you have ideas for short films, or you know have videographers, editors that you have in mind, or if you are a videographer and editor in mind, we could definitely collaborate on our short films. So there's three different facets where we can collaborate and connect. And I love creating and collaborating with just people that have a mind for wanting to put something out in the world, that
Right.
it's a full vision in their head, but they have an eagerness to turn it into something tangible for the world to see.
Yeah. And so when if those of you that are out there and you're in entertainment business, this field is endless, for entertainment. And one of the things is that, have some goals set for yourself on what you want to do, how you want to accomplish those goals. Right now, we're getting ready to launch a film for bullying. And yeah, so we're going to be shooting that next month. And also, we have a magazine that we're working on, and we'll have our first edition of the magazine next month, in November. And yeah, we would like to feature you and your information out there, so that the whole world can see what you are doing in the entertainment industry, and so in the film industry. And so yes,
I
so that's
appreciate
what we
that.
want.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you have
Thank you so
something, we'll
much.
come on your podcast. We can come on your podcast and yeah, give some inspiration, motivation. Tell us about, because we are entrepreneurs also. We own businesses and things like that. So we would love to come on and inspire others. Um,
Yeah, that would
look
be
here,
amazing.
look here. You're on and you're so quiet over there. Give us. I'm gonna put you on the screen, Lakia, so people can see you, who you are.
Hi, everybody.
All right. You have any questions for Julian?
Yeah, just a quick question. What advice do you have for the future generation that wants to be in your shoes?
You kind of cut off. Can you repeat?
Sure. What advice do you have for the kids that's in the future who wants to do the same thing that you do?
Oh, yes. My advice for individuals. You said individuals in the future. It cut off again. Sorry. Um,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yes. My
Yes.
advice for individuals in the future that want to do what I'm doing. You got to believe so strongly in what you do. Like, at the end of the day, there's going to be so many opinions, so many individuals who have a thought on how things should be shifted this way, that way. Maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. No one's going to really know how you want the project to look, how you want the short film to feel, how you want the book to be written, but you really believe in your vision, your mission of what you want these things to be. And once you do that and you put the project out, find people that are, or you're working on the project, find people that are willing to jump on board and really, you know, implement what your idea is. You know, if you're working on a short film and you have a vision for how this short film is gonna, you know, look, and your editor's like, yeah, man, how do you want it? Just let me know. And you can really sculpt how you want it to look. That's the most beautiful thing, because when that short film comes out, you're like, this is exactly how I envisioned it. And when somebody is appreciative of, you know, that final short film project or episode, you're like, wow, like this is what's in my head. And I put it out and I found people that were on board to, you know, support it the way I'm envisioning it. And now people appreciate it. So my advice is like, just believe in yourself. You know, it's simple, but it's complex. You are going to have, you know, self-doubt. You're going to have outside doubt. You're going to have doubt from friends, family, just people that, you know, you give your all in information and ideas and thoughts to, where like, you know, you're saying these things to them, but they can't really fully grasp it as much as you can. So know what you want to do, put it out there, and really like go for it. You know, at the end of the day, it's what you're going to put your name on it. You know, you're going to put this project out there. You're going to put this book out there. You're going to put this song out there, and it's going to be your baby. It's going to be something in your heart that you want to put, and it's all fully you. You don't want anything contaminating it with an idea, somebody's thought. You know, take everything with a grain of salt. People are going to give you good advice. People are going to give you some not so good advice. So use it with a grain of salt. Listen, understand what people have to say. But when you put your thing out there, make sure it's your voice. Make sure it's your vision, and believe in yourself.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's going to happen.
All right, we have the best-selling Christian author, Mr. Alan T. Black. He responded in the chat, congratulations, Mr. Guiteau. Your passion and commitment is going to take you a long ways. And we'll get so many comments. He's all the way out in Nebraska, and tell you, we had him on about a week ago, and he's one of the best-selling authors. Yes, in the Christian best-selling author. He'll be featured in our magazine next month. All right.
I appreciate your words, Alan.
And Joan Wesley, of course, she says, "Thank you, Julian. I've heard everything you said, and peace be unto you."
Thank you, Joan. Right. I appreciate that.
All right. It's so much that you're doing in the entertainment industry, and I'm telling you, you're doing a great job, and congratulations on your future projects. And you know, anything that we can do to help you and to expound what you're doing, we'd love to do that. I'm going to give you the last words for all your fans and the audience.
Well, first off, thank you both for this opportunity and this platform to, you know, share what I do. You know, it's such a great feeling to, you know your work is appreciated, and, you know, you're moving towards a certain direction, and, you know, people are watching, and it's a beautiful thing. So I love what you both are doing too. I'm inspired to, you know, see you both, you know, go after your goals and your dreams, and it's a beautiful thing. So that was the first thing I wanted to say.
Thank you.
The second thing, of course, to leave it off to the viewers that are watching, you know what you want. You know, at the end of the day, there's so many different ways your career can go, but understanding there's one way if you know what you want. You know, you know where you want to be. I think all of us already know what we want to do. You know, whether we're, in a full-time role, a part-time role, or have other engagements. Those are kind of things we're doing, but knowing what you want and where you want to be in the future, start to prepare, start to, get ready and stay ready for those opportunities that are, coming about, and believe that they're coming about,
Mhm.
whether it's, a role coming up where you're going to be in an acting role and you need to have, you know, really in shape arms, or really know how to run fast. Like, start doing those workouts now, because you're doing those for a future movie that you see in the future. You don't know what the movie's called. You don't know who's in it. You don't know where it's gonna be, but start preparing for those moments.
Yes.
You could start preparing for a speech that you're gonna win an award for it, whether it's a Grammy and you're a singer and you're just starting out. Just start preparing now and understand where you want to be, and know, yes, I'm going to get there. And um, believe in yourself so much that other people start to say, like, wow, like, you're actually doing the things that you say you're doing. And yeah, peace and
All
love
right.
and
All
best blessings to
right.
all of you
Very
watching.
inspirational.
All right. All right. You all heard it right here. And that's his picture. Julien Guiteau, presenter, producer, uh, content creator. That's him. Yes. Uh, yes, want to say
Thank you
thank
so
you. And
much.
we look
Thank
forward to
you.
working along with you in your projects and endeavors. Thank you
Yes.
so much. Take care.
Thank
Have a
you,
great
Donald.
night.
Thank you, Lakia. Have a great night.
You too. Bye bye.
All right. All right, everybody. If you are artists out there, entertainment or in the entertainment business, make sure you tune in to the Vnetwork Radio. Send us an email. The email's down at the bottom, vnetworkradios@gmail.com. Or you can give me a call at the studio, 860-461-7577. And this has been, we want to thank all of our guests, and thank all of our viewers, and we'll see you next time. Hey, next week, it's we got a full schedule, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. So make sure you tune in, bringing you good music anytime, anywhere, right here on the V Network Radio. All right. See y'all. All right.